All right, you are listening to Call That Girl's Office 365 show. I'm Lisa Hendrickson, your hostess. This is show number 58. Just a reminder, you can find all my shows and notes at callthatgirl.biz/office365 or at callthatgirl.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I'm now doing audio and video recordings for all my shows moving forward. And you can see my YouTube channel at youtube.com/callthatgirl. And before we get going with our guest this week, I want to quickly thank our sponsor, AppRiver, which, by the way, I just found out they have sales support on weekends now, which is awesome. I had a little migration on Friday where the client forgot about a couple employees. I put in the request thinking I had to wait till Monday. Saturday, we had it all done and set up, and it was a great deal. And they said, go ahead and start shooting them requests because they're there. So that's one other thing I love about them is their availability. And they are based out of Florida. They are open 24/7. And our guest this week has used AppRiver in the past. So that will be Brian Mayo here. I'll have up in a second. And one second, I just lost my notes there. Sorry, folks. Anyway, Brian is an avid, used to use AppRiver in the beginning years, and now he's kind of gone on to his own. So we're going to hear his story about how he's transitioned from using AppRiver to another company. I think I'll just stop there because I got lost in my notes. So Brian, welcome.
Thank you.
There you go. I'll do a little intro here for you. So I met Brian. Sorry. I'm not used to the video thing 100% yet, so I have some.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, mostly just audio.
I know, and I love the video part because then you get to interact with the YouTube, and people are really, I think, attracted to the videos more now. But anyway, I met Brian over at Technibble many years ago. His username is YeOldeStoneCat. I'd have to say, Brian, you're kind of probably a fan favorite over there because if you ever look at a post he puts out, man, this guy delivers in giving back feedback and reviews and help. And I don't know how you do it, first of all.
Well, from being around a long time, I actually do not have a lot of formal training when it comes to computers and IT. I'm cut my own teeth by, at the beginning of the forum days over at speedguide.net, hard OCPs in the network forums, and ARS forums, ARS Technica. There was a couple of others way back then.
Wow.
And I learned a lot by reading and people reaching out to help me. I got into doing my first VPN project was from a member that I met on another tech site. Wow. And I had to do a wide area network using sonic walls, and I was having problems, and one guy helped me out, and it's because of that. I got a lot of help that helped me learn what I do now and just pay it forward and return it. I'm towards my twilight years now. I've been doing this since DOS and Windows 3 days, and it's give back time.
Yeah,
it's a great community, and it's just great meeting a lot of people out there and helping them out, and there's a lot of people hungry out there to do it, and that's what I love doing is kind of in my twilight years slowing down and just pay back.
I know, I keep noticing these Florida posts pop up.
Yeah, you get where I'm going. You get where I'm going.
Every other month or so, there's hey, let's go check out a new place in Florida to go live and retire.
Yeah, I'm narrowing down the West Coast. We are. The wife and I are getting eager to get down there. Kind of done with New England winters.
I bet. Well, that's why I'm in Vegas, but.
Yeah, you moved out of the.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You're into the heat spot now. That's what, 90s, 103, isn't it, over there? Didn't you just topple 100?
Oh, God, no. It was 115 on Saturday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and you know what, Brian? I mean, I've joked about this on the show. I'm a big girl. It's 110 right now.
Yeah. And
I can handle it, but I just don't think anybody can warn you for how hot it actually is going to be. And then you get used to it. So I'm used to it now. Yeah. But it's still bad. Well, there's another thing I want to talk to you about Technibble here. Let me get my notes. Sorry. I said when I'm not on camera, no one can see me. All scattered over here.
Now you're reading from your card. We're going to start saying you're doing the presidential debates. You're reading from your cue card.
My teleprompter.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
It's me. Well, I've been doing these shows for a long time. I just counted the other day. I've done 88 of them. And
Wow.
even though this show number is off, I did shows before this one, so it's a lot. But I got to put out the props to Technibble because, like you, I mean, you don't sell books and you're not out there like hustling stuff. But the key to Technibble is what I love is the more you give, the more you get back. Even for just giving advice and being helpful, because there's plenty of techs out there that don't sell anything, and they've got.
Right.
You've got thousands of posts, and so does New York Jimbo, and there's a lot of high rollers there that give. It's a great community.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I think is unique about it. It stands out. You don't have a lot of some of the other forums. There were always elitist. Like I was going into being the small business tech. You'd ask about switches and routers and stuff, and you get the big Fortune 500 enterprise, Cisco. Like we don't have that kind of budget. We just need the small stuff that works, and they'd look down their nose at you. If it wasn't Cisco, if you can't do CLI on Cisco with Catalyst switches, you're a nobody. No, there's a huge market for the small business services out there. It's really huge, and I think it's one of the faster changing ones too, which is what's exciting about it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that you've watched my business change through all the years. I mean, I've known you a long time.
You've had your multiple stores in the past. I remember your posts about that.
And all the employees at fire. There was always a good time with the firings, yeah. But anyway, it was a few years ago that I remember I was using another this is kind of before Office 365. Kind of. It was more like when the hosted exchange was kind of like transitioning. That's when I started getting involved with more services. Okay. And I think you're the one that put out there, this is kind of a pitch for AppRiver, but you said, talk to AppRiver.
Yep.
And I was like, because I was not liking the old provider I had. I was getting really pissed off with them. And I was like, okay, I need someone else. So it was almost like probably 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago. And
that sounds right. Or maybe even just a hair over 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the thing is that with the servicing Office 365 clients, which you've done as well, longer than me probably, because I didn't cut over to the office till I started working with AppRiver. I was just doing the hosted exchange. I think. But what I wanted to talk to you about mostly today, and we've got some questions here too, is back in your early days, were you doing your own like hosted yourself with the client servers, or were you always using a provider?
Well, in the old days, our bread and butter was Microsoft Small Business Server. And, that was the all-in-one server bundle for small to medium businesses up to 75 users, and it had Exchange bundled onto it. So that's what really, that was our core server installs, and you'd make a lot of money doing those. Not only the server itself, but it'd be $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 just consulting fees installing those.
Yeah.
And we tried to get a good pace of those, targeting doing one of those big installs per month. You get some client that's starting to outgrow their little peer-to-peer work group, and you put in a small business server, and you flip them over from the ISP pop mail to a local exchange, and they'd have that big enterprise feel. Wow, my own vanity email. Lisa at callthatgirl.biz, and instead of having Joe's Plumbing at snet.net or something. So
Hotmail.
And we did that for many, many years. And Small Business Server 2000 after Back Office 4.5, and then Small Business Server 2003 came out, and Small Business Server 2008 and 11, and just kept going and going and going. And then Microsoft kind of pulled the carpet out from under our feet with going to Server Essentials, but no more Exchange. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with these clients now that are outgrowing Small Business Server, or they need to do more? No more local Exchange server, and going to a full-blown Exchange server with licensing is pricey. It's kind of too much budget for them. So Microsoft forced our hand with the Office 365. And at the early part, we've been longtime Rackspace partners, and they had been doing hosted Exchange, and there have been other companies out there doing hosted Exchange. Intermedia was a big one. So we've done some of those, but it was, why not? This is what Microsoft is pushing. Get the Essential server, and they can outgrow that easily to Server 2012 standard. and you integrate it with the dashboard, the Essentials role dashboard with Office 365. And we started getting on board with that. And we had some clients out there that we didn't want to necessarily do the full support for with Outlook and with Exchange Server, the hosted Exchange for Office 365 there. So we learned about AppRiver. And that was actually one particular client I had. They were high demand when it came to the desktop support, and they were long distance. And I had been doing just their core server support roles, and I knew I needed more. So that's where I had experience with AppRiver in the past, their email filtering, Secure Tide, their Cipher Post email encryption. So they were early on with Office 365 resellers. And I used them for this particular client that needed the weekly desktop support for Outlook, and they were very good at that. They're great people, and their support for doing the migrations, just their sales support, doing custom jobs for you. They're just fantastic people. So I was always happy with them. But my colleague from the early on days had always been a very strong advocate of becoming a direct reseller when it comes to products. You know, no matter what the product is, get in there early, be a direct reseller, and start building your volume. And with that volume and history, as that grows, your percentage grows and grows. And Microsoft had their initial reseller program for Office 365. And as longtime Microsoft partners, our initial response to that after seeing the marginal commissions was, geez, guys, this is kind of not much here. Your little commission checks, you know, roughly 6%. And a lot of partners voiced that disappointment there. You know, you want us to be out there reselling this, and you're only giving us the 6%. So it was a big disappointment. And then Microsoft contacted some of the big partners in the area, and we went up to Hartford, Connecticut, and they introduced their new CSP program, which is very, very good. It's through specific, true Microsoft licensing reseller, not resellers, I'm sorry, the wholesale desks like Ingram Micro. And you register with that program, and you get direct support through them. And depending on your volume there, you can get over 20% margin.
Wow.
So that's pretty good. I think the cap's at 28%, and we're at around 20% with our volume with them. So that's pretty good. You purchase the licensing at true wholesale rates, and you turn around and resell it to your clients, and you can price that how that fits into your MSP model. With us, we're reselling it at just the street price, the MSRP, and that's making us about 20%. A lot of other places do various gym membership packages with their clients, and you can mark it up however you want.
And they are. And there's a lot of different ways to sell it now.
There are.
Which is cool. And I think that there's a lot of room for basically every kind of technician to make money on it somehow, whether it be labor or reseller or MSP services. I'm still staying away from MSP. I decided that it's not for me. I'm not going to do it, but I did find ways to still, with AppRiver, I earn commission. Yeah. And that's helpful. And then I also have a high labor fee because I'm expensive.
That's what, exactly. And that's where the big money is.
That's where the money is, the labor.
No, it is. Absolutely. The consulting, whatever your rates are there, doing the migrations. Oh, yeah. We were at first experimenting with our migration fees. Should we do, and you and I had exchanged a few emails about that a couple of years ago. It's like, how do you figure that out? There's so many variables with that. With a lot of our clients, they were established clients, so we had our fingers on the pulse of the health of their computers and their network already. Yeah. But I imagine with you, I think you advertise more out to, brand new potential clients. So you're going into a lot of those networks not knowing the conditions of them.
Brutal.
Horrible shape, malware infestations.
I'm kind of like the firefighter, Brian. It's like here's an example. A lady calls in on Friday, and she was like, I tried to import in a 12 gig PST into IMAP. It totally corrupted her whole life, right? And I said, well, you own your business? And she's like, yeah. And I said, honestly, I don't even want to fix that. Let's just put you on exchange, and let's just, because I knew I could, she'd said she had 2 computers, one with a good PST, because she went from POP to IMAP. And I was like, oh, well, we could put 12 gigs on the exchange server. Well, she didn't want to do it. And I was like, well, then you're going to look at 2 or 3 hours of me fixing that IMAP. So that's already 400 some bucks. So I offered her the $350 exchange migration price. And she actually said, well, let me call you back. She called me back and she goes, oh, my husband said do it right away.
There you go.
Because he already has exchange and he understands it. So, yeah, to me, it's like, I don't want to be doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sick of fixing those firefighting jobs when I'm like, I'd rather spend the time to put them on something good, because that's my ethics in me. Exchange is awesome. It can handle it, and I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people, they deal with the drawbacks of clinging to that free email. They don't want to pay for Office 365, and yet they'll spend hours and hours and hours frustrated with headaches using legacy email technology and tools, and then they pay us to try to fix it. And it's like, come on, you could have bought 20 Office 365 licenses by the time we're done fixing your old POP junk on your.
I know.
Yeah.
I think that's the struggle when I laugh, the struggle is real, because the techs out there doing break fix get the people that don't want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to pay at all. And I'm like, well, I just don't deal with that, because I already have a high enough price that I'm like, it's this or you're not going to get it done. You know, that's just.
They look at your sign in the parking lot and they keep on driving by when they see the hourly rates there. And that's actually a good way to shed those. And
Exactly. Well, you know, back to pricing, the one thing I've been trying to do now, Brian, is that a lot of people are starting to call that have 30, 50 mailboxes, which is, outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. I like to do under 20 manual and get it done. I'm calling it the VIP. So it makes it sound really elite, VIP level, which means it's all-inclusive, fine-tuning, hand-holding, you're 100% happy. But a lot of these 50 mailbox people, you know what they are? They're other techs calling me, saying, I need an expert just to do one migration. Mm-hmm. Coach me, I'll do the desktop level. Well, I can't charge $250 for that. I just don't feel it's right. So I've been playing with more like, how does a tech call me and Rob, my tech who can do it, how do we not charge an arm and a leg, but get the job done at a fair rate that's fair to the tech, and maybe they can upsell it or whatever. So things are changing over here a little.
How are you working with, once you get to clients of that size, are most of the ones that you're doing migrating from Exchange servers, or are you still taking people and you're graduating them from a POP3 setup?
Yeah, they're all Exchange. They're on the Exchange server in the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so time-consuming parts for that are going to be the existing setups that they've been using on their Exchange servers when it comes to the public folders, when it comes to distribution groups, when it comes to forwarding rules that they have set up there. Those are the ones that I'm finding get to be pretty time-consuming, where you want to watch out, a lot of people are saying, well, just flat rate it per mailbox.
Yeah.
Well, as you get larger and larger, you actually end up spending a lot more time recreating that existing Exchange server setup when it comes to distribution groups. And if they've had 50 external contacts added in there, that's very time consuming to recreate up in the Office 365 cloud. I did that one migration that was near 100 users, and they had a lot of external contacts with various hospitals. It was a hospice agency. Oh. So I had these just special distribution groups set up for, external nurses at this hospital and staff at that hospital and doctors groups at another hospital. And I had the special TLS connectors so they could do the secure email back and forth between their Exchange server and the special hospitals. So as you get into the larger setups, those are the ones that are really going to start taking up your time. I mean, the mailboxes is pretty easy, but once you look at their public folders and the public contacts and recreating those, those you can migrate. Just shove them up as a PST and manipulate the sharing permissions and whatnot. But all the custom things are going to be a bit different, and rebuilding those by hand.
Well, my $250 per mailbox that I sell right now is usually an easy sell for the clients that are under 20.
Yeah.
Because I do everything, and I just call it all-inclusive, and I deal with it all. Luckily, I haven't been screwed yet with like what you just said, the public stuff, because honestly, Brian, I don't even do public calendar or contacts anymore because I don't work on iPhones.
Yeah.
So I tell people, go get a new mailbox and let's start from scratch. And then let's go put on like spanning.com or something so you can have a backup in case you get some employee that goes rogue and deletes all the data, you know? So you want that backup now of the Office 365 in the cloud just in case. Have you used that product yet?
No, what we're starting to push out is Datto just released Backupify a while ago. You've probably seen me talk about Datto backup, and there are big money-making backup service, like our tier 1.
Yeah.
So they have their Backupify there, and we've been doing the retention rules that the E3 packages have had. And so most of our clients are on the E3.
Yeah, none of mine are. All mine are on Exchange Basic. Exchange only. Well, some get the full package, but not all.
Yeah, the business premium are probably 30% of them, and the other near 75 or 60-something to 75% are on the E3s.
Nice. Well, I think, that a lot of these technicians out there, they're getting asked by their companies to do, like, let's just say, a small company says to their IT guy, we want to do Office 365. And for them to learn it all for one job is silly. But Rob and I are, like I was saying earlier, trying to figure out some pricing models and coaching things to help the techs get through it. And it is really confusing because you know what I've done in the past 2 weeks alone? I've had to rewrite my processes and the surveys and the game plan and an employee like rollout thing. So the employees know what to expect. I had one client that was like, Lisa, I mean, they're very on top of shit. You can tell, Brian, like they're on top of everything. Them asking me for more information actually helped me, I think, because now I have it documented, the whole thing. They even offered to pay me for that, but I'm not going to charge them. I just did it. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll bill you, but I can use it again. So that's important. And I'm finding that I'm changing a little bit more with the system. And I'm sure you guys found that out earlier too. You got to change a little bit for each client. And I think it makes you a better provider and service. Yeah.
Because they all use their existing infrastructure differently. Every client's different. And that's one of the things I love about this job. You go to, this client and they use their network and their line of business apps and their email one way. And then you go to another client and they use it another way. So with every migration we're doing, you always have to adapt it for that client, and you learn something new about it, and you can take that on to the next one. So it's, between that and Office 365 evolving itself, learn a new dashboard. Ugh.
Well, I know. I love that new dashboard. It's like their 5th this year.
Man, I'm not warm and fuzzy with it yet. I'm always bring me to the legacy one. I'm clicking for that right away. I'm just
take me to the old control panel.
I miss Exchange 5.5 to be honest with you. But.
Oh God! But what's funny is that in this past week I've seen Microsoft Planner get a plugin that I'm interested in, and then there's this new called Booking, a scheduler appointment thing I want to try. And then have you heard of the new product for SharePoint? It's probably not new, but it's new to me. The Harmon.ie.
I haven't played with it yet. Just seeing Harmon, it always makes me think of the audio stereo system.
I know they branded themselves wrong, but you know what? I will tell you, Brian, that I downloaded it and tested it, and I love it.
Really?
Yeah, and they have reseller and affiliate plans. So I'm just right now. I got so much going on with my life that I don't have time to dive into that, but I will in a month or so. And I have installed. I think I showed on couple shows ago how it works. It plugs into your Outlook and it gives you a list on the side of your SharePoint documents and your OneDrive. Okay. So you can play with them back and forth.
So instead of going down to your taskbar or your libraries, yeah.
But that doesn't even work, that SharePoint. Remember we've bitched about that on Technibble. That don't work, the mappings don't work, the OneDrive don't work.
Yeah, I wish they could do the mapping still, and that one's not working. I have a couple of clients starting to use it now with the you get the plugin on the Windows libraries over on the left side, so it's in your Windows Explorer. they're starting to use that with the SharePoint now, and we're actually have been a little bit at the office. OneDrive's been pretty settled down for the past year. I'm pretty happy with that. Some people, when they do the upgrade to Windows 10, their computer will blow up a little bit because they have to flush it all out and get to the unified ones, the new unified client. But yeah, OneDrive's been starting to catch on finally. With you, not yet, or
Still no.
still a big no?
I just actually I get snuck into some jobs by accident. Like someone will call me for an Outlook, and then at the very end, they're like, "Hey, can you take a look at my OneDrive?" I go,
While you're here.
Yeah, while you're in there, let's go clean up the shit. I'm like, you know what? I go, let's schedule it for another appointment. That's gonna be $139. Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah. You're preparing for that.
They're not.
It's usually an old client, or they have two clients installed on there, and you have to wipe the slate clean.
I love it. They got personal and for business. It's a big mess. And I just kind of, you know what, I have niched down to where I'm okay with saying no to something I'm not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And the SharePoint, you know what I think what sucks the most, Brian, is that when clients call me and they're like in a small town like in Montana and there's no Office 365 consultants there, they're like, we want everything. I'm like, well, okay, you ready to talk for an hour? Because you're not going to get it, all of it. And if you want, we're going to have an 8-hour consultation then. And they don't want to put in $1,200 into this Office 365 that's supposed to be plug and play. Right?
Yeah. There's a lot to cover too. There's just an incredible amount, especially when you get up to the enterprise bundles there and everything that it can do. And coming to selling the price for that is another thing that. Have you started doing the mobile device manager yet?
Well, I had the first call. The first, can you wipe something real quick? Yeah. And I had to go look it up for the guy because he's just starting to build his sales team. And you know what we did, Brian, is that he hired me initially to create a shared mailbox. So, well, he didn't know what he needed, but he wanted it for his Android and his sales team to share contacts. And I said, you have to have a mailbox, right? At the very end, he starts getting into little detail work. Like, so what happens if we fire somebody?
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go look. So we did see in there you could wipe the device, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing, all Exchange would be gone. He liked that. And then the spanning.com, the backup. I think that's going to be a real big seller for, or whatever you also said you do. You got to back that up now.
Yeah.
It's scary if you have employees sharing data, because I already had an employee, I saw destruct data, like down to the flush it. Flushed, down, gone.
Yeah.
And that ruined their business. So I said, yeah, you got to protect yourself.
So adding on all the other services, have you started using that sales pitch for like trying to sell the E3 plan? A lot of people see the $20 per month per user and they're going, oh my gosh, that's so much money.
No, because my clients are too small.
When you break it down to the different things that can be bundled with that, I mean, you look at the Microsoft Office install. That in itself, installing up to 5 devices, that's pretty simple for most salespeople to do. The fact that you don't necessarily have to have another email filtering service on top of that, which can be, 75 cents, $1.50, even some places are $2 per user per mailbox.
Yeah.
To go with a third-party spam filtering service. The other part there was the mobile device manager, because we have quite a few healthcare clients and some insurance agencies now. And that they'll have confidential information, of course, healthcare agencies, so the email there, or insurance are going to have the ACT Salesforce stuff on there with potential client information. So we can wipe those phones, and that's often $2 to $3 to $4 or even up to $5, depending on what other mobile device managers you've been using. You start adding up those things, and pretty soon that $20 is fairly well covered right there.
I don't know. You know what, Brian? The thing is that the people that call me, like we were saying earlier, is they call me to fight the fire of Outlook. And then sometimes moving to Exchange is the best answer versus fixing that iCloud junk and all the other stuff I do.
Oh, yeah.
But if I get calls like with nothing, I hate to say this, a lot of them have already bought into the wrong products.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm going with that, right?
Yeah.
They bought the 5 for $99. They're all set. it's not me to be the ethics police for Microsoft to say, well, now I got to strip you of all that, go get refunds, go reinstall all your shit. I mean, that's why I don't have time for that. So I'm like, they can buy what they want as long as I don't feel good about telling them what to buy, unless, it's fresh.
So you're coming in after the fact to kind of finish getting them onboarded with Office 365. Whereas we're with our established clients already, we're kind of steering them into the process there. Yeah, so I can understand your side of things. You're coming after the fact, and they just want to get it to work after they fumbled with it.
And that's how a lot of break-fix techs are. Because even if you have a store, you got people that come in and they're like, I have Office 365. What version?
Yeah.
I mean, my God, there's 17 of them now. So it's like, when people, they call me, a lot of times they're looking for aftercare help. Well, we just got Office 365. We got a big mess. We had iCloud. We had Google Calendar. We've got Androids with Companion Link and, whoop-de-doo-dah. I mean, there's like...
Hold on, I got to get a drink.
And I'm like, okay, so now, Brian, you're going to laugh, but I decided to have a higher consulting rate, which is called enterprise level now.
Okay.
If you are going to have me reconfigure all this stuff, I can't be $139 anymore. I'm really good at it. That's my expertise. So I'm actually calling that enterprise or master level, which I'm going to be really expensive because I remote into 2 or 3 computers. I'm talking to people through phone setups, and I'm bringing stuff down from iCloud, and I'm really multitasking a lot. It's I have to say, from the skills I've learned from doing this, it's pretty impressive to me sometimes what I can get done in an hour and a half. Yeah. And these people have had 6 techs on it. They've called Microsoft, and I'm like, just because I know it. So, yeah, that's one thing I'm moving up is the different things I do, the data recovery also, a lot of the Google app stuff that are more towards Outlook. And I just have a nice list of things that when people call, I'm going to say, well, you need to go look at that list now because that's the higher level. That's like the God level. And people think they can get an expert. Well, I'm sometimes troubleshooting plain Outlook stuff for $139. That's nothing to me. That's like cookies and cream stuff. It's so easy, But like you were saying earlier, when you guys started doing, what was it when you started doing the stuff? You had some clients that were special that you had to, you wanted to find another company to work with. That's what I get.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I couldn't deal with the little. They were good for. They're really good people, and they got their business is a good cause. It was a foundation, but they had a couple of users, which have since left, but they really pushed you. I mean, you get those phone calls and emails, and you'd be like, "Really? You wanted to just find that? Let me Google that for you link and reply back to them." but they wanted the the red carpet rolled out for the desktop support right there, and that's why I chose AppRiver for them. The particular one, I just didn't want the people need.
All my clients get that first level. I can try to help them. If not, if they don't have a prepaid ticket with me, that's why I say you should call AppRiver first because they're free. That's what that's for. But they will tell you if they can't support it, and I get a lot of kickback calls. Then I tell people, well, it's going to be $139 for the hour, or you buy a prepaid ticket. So you've seen me talk about those on Technibble before, and let me tell you that is the cash.
Yeah,
it keeps me happy. Yeah, and you guys have like with your services plans, like all you can eat stuff, or do you have outside billable?
We do on-site billable for a good portion of our clients. So we have some clients on the all-you-can-eat plan. And we have a lot of clients on the hybrid plan, which is unlimited remote, but a slightly reduced rate on site.
Yeah.
So that works out well. And it's actually with Office 365, it's cut down it's become more profitable for us for our supported clients, the all you can eat ones. Gives us less maintenance we have to do on the email server itself.
Yeah.
Early on, we were missing those big fat consulting fees for the servers, doing the migrations and installing the new servers. But with those servers comes maintenance, occasional defrags of the Exchange database, and you'd have to do those late at night or really early in the morning because you have to do it outside of production hours of the office. And sometimes they're nail biters when the info store had problems or some antivirus upgrade blew up to the info store. It's kind of nice not having to deal with supporting Exchange Server anymore. That's the only advantage of Office 365 is that kind of thing is gone.
Yeah, it kind of does run itself. I can't even tell you the last time I remember the server being down, like any of their servers.
They had a real brief outage that affected our area. It was mostly just delays. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was like the middle of the afternoon, and there was 2.5 hours left in the day, and it was done by dinner time. And it was just delays, but compared to supporting a local server, sometimes, we had a good uptime support rate with Exchange servers, but you did have quite a bit more work with local servers, so it's nice.
Yeah, well, it's changing how business is being done, I mean, I could tell you that I've seen the posts on Technibble start changing, and I see you struggle, Brian. You put in so much more to explain things than I do. My God.
Forever optimist, there's so much anti-Microsoft crowd there, and I'm like, why? That's what we make our living off of, for crying out loud.
Well, I think the first thing techs need to learn is how the products are sold and what they are.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them misunderstand a lot of it. So I couldn't imagine being them confused trying to help their clients. But then, it took me a while to figure it out too.
Yeah, I know a lot of them didn't have necessarily, Active Directory and Microsoft Exchange experience in the past, so they had a harder time learning what Office 365 is about, or learning what you could do with it. I think a lot of them saw it as an expensive replacement for residential grade POP email. Well, it's not that. They don't see what Exchange Server really is when it comes to functionality like distribution groups and public folders and external contacts, and having a universal interface for all devices. Have it on your PC, have it on your Mac, have it on your iPhone, have it on your Android, have it on your iPad, blah, 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 blah. Wherever you bring up Outlook, it looks the same. Your contacts are all there. All your information's right. It's just so easy, and it works.
Yes. There is a residential one now called Outlook.com, which I tell my clients is the free Exchange server. It's shittier, but it does the job. I mean, there's a lot of limitations. Trust me, my Outlook.com clients will push me to the limit. I'm like, you're not on a freaking Exchange server. You're on a really crappy free one. So that's what you get. And I say, that's it. You just basically get email syncing, contacts, calendar, and maybe a few other little bells and whistles, but nothing else. And that's it.
Yep.
That's it.
I noticed that a lot of the text you could see who never worked with Exchange Server before, because they're like, well, there's Google Apps, or, well, no, there's no comparison. This is, you want to talk about comparing something, pull up a chair and let's talk about Lotus Notes. But you'd have to work for,
I worked on Lotus.
Company like Pfizer or something for that. But no, we're not.
No. The old Domino server, I think, was the old Lotus Notes, wasn't
it? Exactly. Yep.
My first, I tell this story sometimes on the show. My first experience was a VAX AS400. I worked in a computer lab, and that's where I did all my email. Was like IN% quote, and I had to type it out in lines. And then we moved into some software programs, and then the school started with Lotus Notes, and I was like a Lotus Notes trainer.
Yeah,
I got to know it, so I trained the teachers, and that's what I did in college. And then they were like, "We're going to Outlook Express." I know, it just cracks me up. And then I trained Outlook Express. We use Lotus Notes at Honeywell for a ticketing system of all things. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that was a pretty complicated system. I remember a lot of more security-oriented enterprise companies in the past, those in jet aircraft manufacturing for the military, or like I mentioned before, Pfizer. It was companies like that where I saw doing the Lotus Notes. And
Yeah.
you get in, you'd have that big dashboard on the left, click on your icon.
I loved it. That's where I loved Lotus Notes. It had some powerful stuff underneath. We did a lot of cool things. Yeah, but we had an Exchange server. I was an Exchange admin for a while, but on the top level, I never tried to toot my own horn that I wasn't like a deep administrator. I was more like front of house, help desk stuff. But I learned a lot back then.
Yeah.
Brian, I wanted to ask you one more thing about that. It was right here in the notes too, and I just moved it down, of course. Well, maybe it was back to the Technibble thing with those texts. Shit, I forgot. Well, whatever. So I think, we actually had a list of questions that obviously me and Brian don't need.
I'm going to wake up my laptop here and bring him back up.
We obviously don't need the list of questions. We could talk for hours about this.
I know.
Oh, that's how I love it, though, Brian. All my shows, you never know where it's going to go. I love it. Well, okay, we were kind of at the tips for the text, which was just naturally going there. So one thing I did, Brian, which I should bring up now, is I finally finished my Outlook training videos.
Okay.
That I've been wanting to do for 2 years, and I had people sign up for webinars, and they then didn't want to do it. So I was like, I'm going to go for the videos. After 2 years, I finally knuckled down and became a video ninja, and I got 9 of them out, and I created them with technicians in mind. But they're good enough for an end user to watch and get confused. But I'm not intentionally to confuse them. Trust me. I just know it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
But
it is watching one sit-down session.
What's that?
The watching one sit-down session, there's quite a few topics to go over with them. Skim the surface at first and go in and in, I
made it in 9 videos. And here's the reason why I made 9 is because I wanted to make them as full as I could for technicians, but also for the end users that wanted to watch them all. So my clients are going to get sold these every day. There's basics, advanced, super advanced, exchange, and email management tips for $50.
Mm-hmm.
So I made all these videos, and like I said, I think my clients will get probably to the 3, but they're going to jump to exchange. See, I think that they're going to say, I already know enough. I wanted to see what exchange does.
Okay.
Get my theory on that? Because you can watch whatever one you want. I put them on my website in pieces. So I'm like, I don't care which ones you watch, but you're going to learn because each one gives a spot at the end where you can stop and practice. Like, now go practice what you learned, Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping to resell them to techs like you, that you can go and resell them to your clients. Because a lot of MSP guys don't offer training.
True. Very true.
There you go. So I'm just putting it out there as a pitch to people listening is that I want these videos. I don't want to scare people because I didn't brand them under Call That Girl either. They're called OutlookTraining.biz.
There you go.
So the techs will know it's me, but the clients won't know. And I don't want to take away the branding from, the techs to not earn their own money. I don't want people calling me, but whatever. But anyway, so that's kind of part of the Office 365 too, is do you guys offer training outside of just Outlook? I mean, do you offer end user training and all that?
No, we don't. I guess basically, since we've been doing MSP for a long time with even local exchange, the clients ask us, I need this, I need that. We've told them what the email servers can do or listen to if they have a need, like, for example, creating distribution groups. How to get more out of Exchange, just more than just your inbox and your global address book or your local contacts. It's more than that. There's so much that it can do.
I'll shoot you a copy of the videos, Brian. You can go look at them.
Okay.
And just to see, I didn't get into it.
What do you find most of your clients ask you about? Like mailbox sharing? How can I open other people's mailboxes? Is it that kind of stuff where you have a tiered office and, for example, an accounting agency, an accountant's going to have some of their bookkeeper assistants. So, give them access to their calendars or let them reply to some of the emails. Do you find a lot of calendar sharing items or something that gets requests made, or what part of Exchange functionality do you see the needs being?
I made the whole video on Exchange because I made everything in there that, well, let's put it this way, is I think a lot of people, they always have a lot of questions, and a lot of it is sharing, or this feature, or that feature. Can it do this? Can it do that? So when I created the exchange portion, like I said, I didn't get into deep, like distribution list management and public calendaring and all that, because to me, that's not the future. But if a client has like 100 some mailboxes, I'm assuming that that's already done for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they figured out those steps by there.
So this exchange video I created is more for, like, let's say you sold it to a company of 20 people and said, you know, look, for $500, we're going to give you all these videos and you can watch them whenever you want. You know, new people or whatever. That's kind of my goal of this. And the exchange stuff they're going to learn is the little simple things that exchange does, like what synchronizes over a server, settings, the out of office, which of course most people know about. But it's like a 12-minute video.
You'd be surprised they don't.
Well, autofill also synchronizes now over exchange. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of went through everything that people asked me, and none of my clients would want to pay for, not none. A lot of them don't want to pay for personal training one-on-one. So I was like, well, then go buy your team the video. And you can pay $50 a person and get it for life, you know? So that's kind of my goal on this. And I haven't really seen any videos out there, but if you don't have anybody doing the Office 365 training, maybe that's next for me.
That's next. Yep.
No,
that's cool. I think we need a lot of training, or people need a lot of training on that. They don't understand what Office 365 is about, or how to use it, how to get their money's worth out of it, how to unleash the abilities in it, how to utilize it. They pay for so much and they barely use 10% of it.
I know. I've had some people that pay $15 a month and all they have is exchange.
Yeah. Why not get more money's worth out of it? Because it can do a lot for the business.
Well, if I did the video, I'd probably have to add in the new Harmony product and the spanning and all the little things that I'm learning about. Because, I mean, to me, that's stuff that I would want clients to have, but guys like you maybe wouldn't do it all. I don't know. I have
to look at that Harmony. I've heard you talk about that. As soon as I sign off, I'm going to have to dig into that Harmony.
I'll tell you again. It's actually, I call it Harmony, but it's harmon.ie. So it's the word Harmon. And yes, I don't like that they use that name, but they do have, I can actually screen share it if you want to see it. I got to hide my email here real quick, but I'll pull up some of my junk mail options here. And you guys can see it. That's why I like this video, Brian. I can screen share.
Nice.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go put up the sidebar, and I'll screen share it.
We got to get you playing with Skype.
Oh, no, I'm over Skype. Okay. All right, you see my thing over here?
You got it.
Okay, so over here, you can see the emails that came in through Office 365. Okay?
Right.
Or here's my sites. And here's my SharePoint.
Okay.
So it's really nice and handy right here. I've tested it. You know, I've opened up a document. Oops. I've opened it, closed it. I watched it online, sync automatically. It's right here. Yeah, that's it too. I mean, that's that simple. You can go into some config options. Oh, I don't know what that's doing. I better get out of there. There's some config options. I think it hides up here. Yeah, options. Can you see that still?
Yep, I do.
You can put in your server right here. Then you can go to advanced, and this is where you can do all the fun stuff. Like, do you want to attach a link instead of a document? You can attach a link that goes through your SharePoint.
Yeah, that's cool. So you don't have to leave Outlook.
No, God, no. They don't want you leaving Outlook with this. So the thing is, you can send a link that goes to SharePoint, and then there's an external user option too, I think. And this also works on the phone, mobile phones.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
And that is what's going to do it. And I also think this does the OneDrive. Yeah, that dreaded OneDrive. Hold on. There, yeah, the OneDrive documents right there.
Yep, nice.
So I don't know. I haven't played with it too much, but I had to find something, Brian. I was losing so much money. I mean, I don't want to complain, but the point is when I'm marketing myself as a Office 365 expert, and people call and they're like, well, we want to get into OneDrive and SharePoint. I'm like, I can't help. Now I can.
It's settled down. They've groomed it pretty good with a recent release over this past winter, I feel. So trying to get into it and push it more.
Well, we'll see. Until that OneDrive, and until I start hearing everybody's happy about it, I can't even take the time.
But they do have to make it so you can map a drive to it and sync it to a local server on the office. And
oh, that's nice.
They got to finish that. I mean, right now, I keep mentioning Datto, but Datto has their Datto drive, which is, you know, they purchased the rights for OwnCloud when OwnCloud, you know, disappeared. And Datto took that over. And it's a great client. You can stick a client on the server, and there's a server share right there.
Nice.
You know, it's similar to Dropbox. It's more robust, and it's, in my opinion, more robust than OneDrive. So we have a lot of our clients on that. But I wish OneDrive would finish going down the home stretch. I mean, they improved a lot in the past winter. We got a little more work to do.
Remember old SkyDrive?
When it first came out, that was pretty cool. And they used to have the remote access, too, with the Windows Live stuff, where that would proxy a remote desktop. That was out for, 2 years, and they pulled that away.
I never used that one, but the SkyDrive used to connect to, I think there was another product that it used a lot. Was it OneNote? Not OneNote. There was another product that used the SkyDrive, and I used to troubleshoot it all the time for clients.
I just remember SkyDrive itself, and then the, the Windows Live remote feature, which was pretty cool. It was kind of like a primitive team viewer or go to my PC, if you will.
Yeah.
You'd log into your Windows Live account, and you could remote into a computer at the office. It would proxy a remote desktop for you.
How the good old days.
With that, I was like, yes, Microsoft is going up there and trying to kick out LogMeIn and stuff, but they pulled it back.
I'm still married to LogMeIn. Married. So there's one more thing I was going to ask you about with this. God, I just spaced off again. Not the one.
Have you played BitTitan yet?
Oh, yeah. Migration Wiz?
Yeah, Migration Wiz. You got it.
Yeah. Actually, I'm looking to get one of their engineers on one of my shows.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're doing I want to talk about Deployment Pro. And I don't know if you caught this, but you know what? I have a lot going on, so I hired Rob, the guy on Technibble, Soho Tech.
Yes,
yeah.
Soho Tech. Yeah.
He's like my my PowerShell guy, migration manager. We haven't done a lot of work recently, but the summer's been a lull for me on that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like he just knows this back-end stuff so awesome. And so he's been helping me for about a year and a half. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, but he loves that Migration Wiz, boy. That's like his thing. He does the PowerShell with all the back-end stuff and uses that.
You kick off the impersonation and you just watch the progress bars all weekend. It's like this couch right here,
That's right.
This couch and I'll go in and out doing my chores around the house, mow the lawn, hang out in the pool, go for a ride, and come back and you just check on progress bars. That's what's so nice about it.
I know.
Forklift a whole mail server up there over a weekend, and there's things to learn with that. I mean, sometimes you definitely can't plan on it for just a weekend. There are some clients where their internet connection's pokey, and some people with those massive inboxes that never clean it and have items in their sent folder since 1997, and so you'll find that some of my mailboxes are still migrating days into the week. You kick it off on a Friday and it's still going Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
If it's cloud to cloud, it shouldn't matter, right? If it's like Gmail to Exchange or
cloud to cloud, shouldn't matter there. But just what you'll find is it can bog down their Outlook a little bit because you're kind of doubling the traffic. The old server's uploading, then it's got to pull down again into their new Outlook. So
we've been doing the whole Passover till the very end.
Yeah. And
at the very end, then we go to the computers and I still manually set them up. See, Brian, there's still just a part of me with my processes that I could never just be like, okay, there's your Outlook, you're done. No, me and Rob have a process where we do all the fine tuning. And I trained him on that because I don't want any callbacks or, the least amount of callbacks on migration day or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't want to get interrupted. You want callbacks. It should be seamless to the end user.
Yeah, it's the expert level stuff. I call it the expert level. The VIP client, like when someone's like, well, our last guy messed it up. I'm like, well, because they didn't do the fine tuning after, which that's messing up to a client. They're not done.
Yeah.
That's why I've worked on that. And Rob has done a really good job of, so if you ever need a helper on a big job, you should get him on there because he'll step up. He's East Coast too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But,
Coast Unite.
What?
East Coast Unite.
I can't tell you, being a Pacific Coaster now, how much Pacific Coast people love when they find out you're on Pacific time.
Yeah, that's right. You're on the other side of the mountains there.
Yeah, it's like this funny thing when they're like, "Oh, you're on Pacific time too?" They get all giddy, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like right here on your time zone." But so yeah, we've been doing the BitTie, the migration wisdom, starting to incorporate some more products. I'm getting a little nervous about too much, but I do see the future is there's, for me anyway, with the marketing I do, the techs want to hire me to help coach or with a migration. That's my future. I really don't see me getting into MSP level. I see me on the coaching side or me and Rob helping a tech get through one and learn it, and we go on our way.
Yeah.
Which is a market for that. Thank God.
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of techs are being forced into it, and they haven't had the experience yet, or they haven't done Exchange Server, so they're gonna feel swamped. I mean, we already see some posts on Technibble there. I got my first client asking me to take him to Office 365. What are the gotchas?
Oh God.
What can I look out for? There's a handful of techs putting posts up for that, and like you said, there's a market for that. So that'd be a good consulting gig for you to help out some techs and help roadmap their migration and be there for bouncing ideas off of, or just some hand holding on it.
Well, maybe I could put together a training thing. They could buy all the surveys I've done and buy all the documents. I've been writing that shit out now for a couple of years, Brian. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep going on other services that, like you started talking about, you have your training videos for techs to sell to their clients. I think that would be a big one there. There's not a lot of people out there that know the Office 365 services, and I don't even think a lot of techs know them out there. I mean, you heard me start to talk about like the mobile device manager. Did you know you have email encryption with your Biz Premium or your enterprise versions of Office 365, where you can send encrypted emails? That can also save clients $5 or $7 per user per mailbox per month.
I don't even know that, Brian. That's another part of Office 365 that I don't need to know. See? This is like such a huge thing. It's kind of like, it's like you're in one neighborhood and I'm in the other. Honestly, and we're doing the same thing. Isn't that crazy?
But that's just it. Nobody knows about these. Get out there and train and sell and train. And I have clients asking us if we know SharePoint administrators to help them on building the team sites out there.
Do you?
You want? Not yet. How about I'm going to knock on your camera?
I got it.
Yet?
I got the secret weapon, and you will love this fella.
Yeah.
It took me over a year to find this guy, but I found him, and he is vetted, credited, everything. Top ranking guy, and he's on my payroll now. Yep.
So I have a foundation client that wants to start utilizing their SharePoint site, the team site, and start integrating it with their board members and be able to share documents to external users. They can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I haven't had the time to sit down and really use SharePoint more than just a bucket for sharing files within the team. So when we get off of this, let's exchange an email, and I'll have your person here. I'll have him a good warm referral.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I need this fella to be like 5 more of him, because unfortunately, this is probably to find a SharePoint expert. You know what these experts out there want? typical
Oh, yeah.
$3,000.
$300 an hour.
Yeah. They want $3,000 projects and they want to take their sweet time. And I'm like, do you know how much work I could give to a tech? So if anybody's out there listening and you know SharePoint and want a job, I have one for you. Full time probably too.
Yeah.
By the hour. And my clients, I think, would pay big money for an hourly tech just to get a couple of things done. That's all they want. They don't want a big, elaborate SharePoint farm, you know?
No, they just want to get some hand-holding into how do I do some basic functionality. I want to share documents here. I want to share documents with external users, but securely share them. How do I do that? You know, because SharePoint's kind of that interface. It's a webby interface that you can do a lot of different things with. Use it for your own bucket storage. That's the simple way. Use it for sharing documents with external people. Now you're talking about a little bit more.
Yeah, because you had to have a pretty site too and all the permissions done. And, you know, Brian, back in my days with Harris IT, I used to work there. Oh, my God, we had the most gorgeous SharePoint. Oh, internal only. It was so gorgeous. We had 2 administrators for it.
Yeah.
And I was becoming one of the new admins on the front end, you know, my help desky stuff. It's really cool. But the new one is just outside of, I think, where if I took off a couple months, I could probably get really good at it, but I just can't risk
it. That's it. You got to take all this time to immerse yourself in it to learn it. And it's one of those things, okay, I'll get to that in a couple of weeks. And I started saying that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I only have time, like if someone sends me a new product to check out, I'll go check it out. If I don't have it done in 15 minutes, next.
Yeah.
If I can't figure it out in 15 minutes, then to me, it's like I have to do it later.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hi, Brian. What did we?
It's a market. It's a market. It's there's a need for that. We got to fill it. We got to find a way to fill it.
The SharePoint expert, I think, like I said, if somebody wanted to start a business that did by the hour and didn't want project work, there's just enough work for everybody with that. There's just so much. I think the biggest question is people are like, what do I do with it? I'm paying for it. They don't even know. You know, I don't know. Like, well, it does a lot of stuff.
It does, but yeah, what do they do with it? How do they start using it?
Does a lot of stuff that's going to cost you money to learn. No, actually, I'm starting to get into some food co-ops. I'm getting the word kind of trickling around, and these people want the whole experience. They want everything because they want mobile, so they can go to their farms. They want all this stuff, and they want it all just to work. So at that point, I'm like, it's going, Brian, beyond what I'm doing, which is the unknown territory of what could we do, you know?
So these are all spread out people. They're not 10 people sitting in an office.
No.
That's really how to use Office 365 is that it's your virtual office for a bunch of spread out people, you know. Yeah. And that's one of the things that this Office 365 can fill the need for. Years ago, we had a business that was all under the same roof, in the same room, the one business in the building. Yeah. Now you have businesses that are geographically spread out. There's branch offices, there's Soho workers, there's people that work from their summer cottage down on the coast. And you have to be able to give them the feel that they're in the office. And that's where SharePoint and Dropbox, yeah. Oops.
Oh, that's my favorite.
That's where OneDrive and SharePoint can start filling in these holes here.
You know, I think, Brian, that when I talked about a few shows ago, I wish Microsoft would buy Dropbox. So I started noticing my feed hits go down. I was so mad at OneDrive.
Dropbox. Oops, I didn't mean to say that.
No, I'm all for Dropbox, but you know what? I mean, my end goal would be for me to get off Dropbox if everything worked.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I can't pull the Band-Aid off yet because I don't trust it.
Yeah.
But even with this Harmony, I don't trust it yet too because I still have to spend the time on it. But the thing with these people is what's coming up is everybody wants mobile. They want iPads, tablets. They want everything to look the same. They want all the bling and blah and everything else. And the mobile is what's going to make us the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's taking it off and putting it in the cloud. But yet, like those mailboxes and the other things they want, It's a lot. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you that we should actually do a how-to webinar and actually charge people, Brian. This is a little tester, but I mean, if we can get into it, that's what, there's no one out there training it.
No, there isn't. There's a big gap. There's a big gap right here. There's a need. I hear the client screaming for it already. And we're guilty of not filling that gap, and we see it right there. But I can tell you, our clients now, we've had them from local Exchange servers. We've migrated them to Office 365, and now there's these extra tools here, and it's like we're leaving a lot of meat on the bone. We're not finishing it. We're not saying, okay, OneDrive, let's get everyone on. I've got a couple of clients started on it, a couple of clients on the SharePoint. I need to start doing it with everyone, but it's my bleeding hole is SharePoint. Got to learn it.
I know. Well, don't. You know what? You can't be an expert in everything. That's why we'll figure out someone else to do it, because I can't imagine knowing all this stuff I know. I actually have a lot of experts already, Brian, I use that I offset a lot of work to, because there's only so much that you can handle.
Yeah.
And one thing I found, what's that?
Implode, or otherwise you just implode or blow up, or both at once. I don't know.
No, but I think that if you take a client proposal, and here's me anyway, if I say, okay, 5 people, your Exchange migration is going to be $1,200. Then let's throw on the cost of the the Exchange and the Office. So that's whatever price. Then let's throw on training. So shouldn't it be the product, the labor to get it migrated, and training? But no one puts the training on.
Yeah, that's true.
No one wants to pay for it, and you just spent all this money, and all you know is what you knew before.
Yeah.
So I kind of am like, I'd love to start saying to people, here's this, this, and this. It's all one. But people, I think techs like me are scared to say, it's going to be $2,500.
Yeah.
People are, I'm going to go find it cheaper.
Been guilty of that in the past, and you end up paying for it.
Well, training is really important for these people to get the most out of it. But you're right. They don't want to pay for it. And I don't know. So I'm going to test it with these videos. So what I did is I'm going to start selling them to each one of my clients, every single client, every single job, no matter what. They say no, that's okay. But the migrations, see, I can get bigger volume of people.
Yeah.
So I could say, you got 12 people, we'll do it for $30 a person instead. I could sell a mass amount. But I'm like, you just spend all this money. Don't you want to learn it? I don't really want to do a 1-hour webinar either, Brian. If you do a 1-hour webinar, that's like $600.
That's what you're going to shoot for that?
Something like that? If you're a trainer, oh God, yeah, you could get more.
Yeah.
Go look at professional professional Outlook trainers. Yeah. For groups, they're pretty expensive.
Wow.
One person, I think, is $169 an hour for this one ladies I saw. And I'm okay with that if I'm in your computer training you.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just doing a webinar to hundreds of people for $169 a person. Can you imagine that? So this runs this weekly. You just go sign up, and people just go attend, and they can't really participate and talk. They just have to watch.
Yeah. I'd find myself going to Florida a few more times a year if I was doing that.
Yeah, no kidding. You'd just be teleporting. All right, Brian, anything else for the show today? We did follow the notes. I'm looking here, and we did. We just didn't do it in order.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff, way more than I expected. And I knew you'd have tons of information.
Yeah, we could maybe pick up another show like the nuts and bolts of a migration, perhaps, on doing a 50 or 100 user one with perhaps something like BitTitan. I don't know.
I think that was supposed to be our original show, was you were going to talk about your first migration. and now, look, we just talked about just Office.
The future of sales and where everything's going and where we can make money on it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be done out there. And I think for people that want to learn, it's like finding the resources. That's what the hard part is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard. But I'm trying with my shows here, Brian. I've been, I'm going to end the show here. I got Carl Pelichuk coming on the next show. Carl, I think, is going to be talking about the MSP level of selling Office 365 and trying to get some of the break fix techs to start working with the MSP model of that.
Yeah.
Because, they're saying break fix is dying. Well, yes and no. There's a lot of arguments back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to be MSP probably. I like my break fix, but I'm also niched out. I'm doing something that's not in a store or typical, so I can't say. But I'm going to try to get some information out of him that, can help the break fix techs who are struggling, who want to learn Office and need, he's got some plans and stuff that I want him to explain. So let's see what he does. But folks, that I think will be the next show. Will be Carl.
Okay.
So you can watch that. But I'd love to have you on again, Brian. I'm sure we could go another.
Yeah, next time we can really drill down to the actual steps of the migration. Because I imagine you want to run now. If not, I can talk about that some more if you want to save it for another show.
Well, the actual steps of a migration, let's do it on another show. Because the videos can get too long and they don't render good for me.
Yeah, no problem.
It's okay. So why don't I just email you? We'll reschedule for the migration talk, and then I'll send you those videos too, so you can check those out.
Yeah, you can take a glance at those, and that's definitely a market that we got to start pushing more. So I could probably find some candidates for your videos there. That'd be great. Yeah,
if anybody listening wants to check out my videos, I'll put a link in the show so you can check them out. And eventually, once I get my affiliate plan up, technicians can actually send it to their clients and make money without even knowing. I mean, it's going to be an affiliate code. You can put in a newsletter. You can put on your navigation bar for your website. And like I said, I made the videos so they're not branded for Call That Girl. You would know it, but not the clients because they're, don't know my brand probably. Yeah. So I'm hoping that text can start saying, oh, here, we just did a migration for you. Go check out these videos from this girl we know. And I made the videos with a very I'm over your shoulder telling you stuff kind of feel. They're not like, the lady reading from a voiceover recording. They're very and I even do my little oopsie, I messed up or something. Nope, I had to.
Keep it real.
Yeah, I just got so stressed out making these. Let me just tell you, it took a long time to say, screw it, I'm just going to roll. And if I mess up, I mess up. You got
to keep your bottle and glass of wine just out of view of the camera.
I think what bothered me was that I wanted to just get one done, and the first one took me the longest. Yeah. And then after I started getting the rhythm down, by the 9th one, I was like, God, let's just make a whole version for techs only at this point. Yeah. Because the tech only version I want to make, Brian, is going to be intense, and it is not going to be $50. If I go into troubleshooting Outlook videos, those are going to be a couple $100 because you're actually going to be able to learn how to fix the things I do. And it's, some people are like, well, aren't you going to give away money? I'm like, no. Some people don't want to hire me. They want to hire local. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with sharing my knowledge. It's all right with me. But there's a lot of ins and outs of Outlook that a break fix tech is going to get that you'll never see. You don't deal with iCloud, right?
iCloud? No. Thank goodness.
I deal with that nightmare all the time.
No, not even Google Apps. We're really exchange. Whether it's local or hosted or O365 super hosted flavor. It's really just that.
Nice. Well, I love the Microsoft stuff. I try to keep other products in mind too, but it's really what's been making me do well, I think, in business. It's it. I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm a fan. You don't see me bitch about Microsoft Online too much, like some of the other techs do when there's a bad update. I'm like, come on, bring them on.
I know.
For me, they make me money.
No, they're all complaining about her, and it's revenue coming in. Jeez.
Oh, anything that Microsoft does that brings us money. Yeah,
we actually we don't run into the bad updates much at all. We have our patch manager for our clients. We wait till Thursdays.
Yeah.
As you know, Microsoft's updates come out on Tuesdays, and
yeah,
we have our patcher push them out on Thursdays. So it's had a day to get pulled back, fixed, and reshot out.
Yeah, just the thought of me doing that gives me No, but I already have to do the I do notice on Wednesdays with the patch or with the releases that I get some weird calls
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to watch what's trending.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you that for me, a lot of people don't know this, but they probably do know this. I've got all my browser windows open to all the things where I can go find stuff quickly. And I try to get out information just as quick. If it's serious, I'm in the community of sharing too, but it's sometimes hard to keep up with this.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, there's Windows updates, Outlook updates, everything crashes. And I'm like, sometimes it'll take me a couple days to find out if what happened with an update. I can't keep up with everything, you know. I remember one guy charged him for 2 hours. It was he had other work though too, so it wasn't like I screwed him. But man, I was like 2 days later I found out that was the update in last November.
Oh, the Outlook one.
The first one I had, that poor guy. But I said he had other issues too. I think he had some other third-party apps and stuff. But man, I was so mad, and I was like, well, he kind of took the first one, but.
Yeah, I remember that one. We had a few clients ringing us up. My Outlook keeps crashing, opening, closing. And yeah, it took a little bit till we saw everyone's posts on Technibble. I think you were one of the first posters. Right about all within 1 hour, 6 people were posting. Finally, we know the problem. It was an Outlook update.
Oh, yeah. I actually think there's a few other guys out there right now that are keeping their eye on that more than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I should name their names or not, but man, every time I go look, they're like, Johnny on the spot. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do put it out there if I can.
Yeah. That's a good community, though, that Bryce started there with Technibble. It's, it kind of fits the user market or the forum members. We're all pretty much in the same boat there, and it's rare to find that the IT people that are breakfast / small to medium business.
Yeah, I'm going to put this show up in the, I think, I'm not sure, but in one of the higher forums. I think sometimes the lower stuff doesn't, I know that, you've been there a long time. I'm going to see if it'll get more hits putting up in the higher level.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people really appreciate what you've done out there, and you do give a lot, Brian. You do. It's amazing. Sometimes I'm like, are you talking in your phone? Or are you writing all that out?
I type. I'm a very fast typer.
Damn. I'm like, I love it. They're like, oh, ring, ring. Brian Mayo's coming in. I love it because I'm like, you got some guys out there that like poking you a little. Isn't it with, what is it, the BNI?
Yeah, I stopped that, but it was really good. I did that for quite a few years.
Yeah, off topic, Brian was a big BNI guy, and BNI is great for those that do it. And I remember there were some times where people would be like, here comes YeOldeStoneCat, and I'd laugh going, here he will come too. Brian will stand up. Don't worry.
Yeah, give me a step ladder because it's a tall soapbox I'm going to stand up on and preach. But yeah. And I know a lot of it has to do with personality type and luck of the draw with what your local chapter is going to be like. But
yeah,
it was great. And you got to go out and be active and meet people and talk. And it's your opportunity. I got a lot of good luck. You stand up and you're talking. You've seen me post this a lot, how to get the business out there. Yeah. I drive back and forth to work all the time or ride or whichever. As you're driving around, look for businesses. Gee, I'd love to have that business because a lot of techs got to look around. You drive by that business. Oh, I wonder what other computer companies taking care of them. Mm-hmm. Go find out. Or if you see a new business starting up, coming soon, or you see a business moving into an old industrial building, resurfacing it, getting ready to move in, go in and find out. Yeah. The BNI away for me was standing up in front of 20, 25, 30, or 40 people. They're all local business owners. I'd like to find out, who's the manager of such and such? Who can I reach out to? This business right here. I'd like a warm intro. Mm-hmm. The answers are pretty good. You get a response. I mean, you're standing up in front of 20 to 40 other local business owners. Someone's bound to know them.
Yeah, and plus Office 365, you'd be the only one in there.
Yeah, market yourself for that, and if you're the expert and the local one doing that for your business area, go get it. It was just a good way to open the doors for other business, knock on the business doors, get referrals. Warm referrals is always good.
Oh, it is. I mean, I did the old school networking. I mean, you've known me for, well, I don't know when you joined Technibble. I joined in January 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I talked about back then was in-person networking events. I mean, it was big for me. But then I started just opening stores and moving too much, and I was just too much, so I had to go to online.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference, but I mean, that's a different business handshake too.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, a lot of those small towns want to know their people.
Yep, it was good for that.
I don't win a lot of big business, Brian. I get the little breaky fixy things, and I will get the big migration. Those most often, those people have local techs.
Yes.
And they don't want to. I don't want to do that work anyway. So I actually try to say I'm a nice compliment to your tech company.
Yeah. That's a way to look at it, is get in there as an expert for a particular service, because chances are if they have an existing IT company, they're a jack of all trades, master of none. They're there for the break fix of the desktops, adding a drive to the server, creating new user accounts. Yeah. They may not be experts with those 365. No.
That's what I was saying on my last show. You know who loves me? Lawyers. Lawyers love me. Their techs do their stuff great. But when it comes to Outlook, they're not always so great at it. So
yeah, and they live and die by their email. So
I know. That's why I'm like, oh, your law firm, that'll be $500 today, thanks. And they buy it. Yeah. Well, I laugh because I just, I mean, I treat all my clients the same, but it just seems like when I get those in, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
Wish I could just market to them. That'd be so great. But then what fun would I have with iCloud?
Oof. I'm glad I never dove into that. I'm so glad I never dove into it.
No, I did one today. And it wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty decent. And they finally got it working with Windows 10. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you earlier, Windows 10. So OneDrive and Windows 10 is not OneDrive. I actually got SharePoint to work with Windows 10 pretty nicely.
Yep.
It had its own SharePoint button on the left. You mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah, it'll appear as an object in your libraries. When you open browser and log into SharePoint, there's a little button there to sync, and that'll put a little SharePoint object in your Windows libraries on your left.
That was what I was going to tell you, was a highlight one day when I got my new Windows 10 computer. I decided to try it. So I was like, brand new computer, what could I mess up, right? And it worked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good feature. So it has your direct access. So it's almost as good as a map drive. Almost.
Well, that's what everybody wants, is that shortcut anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Care. So I'll check out the Harmon IE.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. And there is a referral plan too, Brian. So if you test it, you can set up a reseller or affiliate.
Okay.
And you know what? I like the old days where you could click an affiliate link and earn money. I think this is different. I'm not sure, but you still earn off each sale. But anyway.
I'll check it out.
I'm a referral person, but I'll have you click on my link before you go buy anything.
No problem.
Just in case. If I earn $3, it's $3, right? Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm going to close up the show. If you want to find Brian, why don't you give out, I don't know what people would want to call you for. Connecticut, Dynamic Alliance, MS.
Dynamic Alliance in Southeast Connecticut, bmayo@dynamic-alliance.com.
I forgot to give you that in the beginning. Sorry. Like I said, I'm still getting used to the video part. If you can email Brian, you can find him over at Technibble, YeOldeStoneCat. He's fun to follow, and he puts a lot out there, and he's like one of the fan favorites, like I was saying.
Thanks much.
Yeah, no problem.
I got to run upstairs. All
right, I'm going to close the show, so hold on. This has been a Heyman Hendrickson production, audio supported by Mitch Heyman. Thank you to our sponsor, Upriver, and Podbean for hosting. If you have a story you'd like to share or want to be a guest on the show, please contact me, Lisa at callthatgirl.biz. And in the show notes this week, I will have my Outlook training videos. Thanks, folks. See you next time.